Hey guys, it's Emma, and if you haven't seen my face before, welcome back to my channel. Hey! I would say long time no see, but I've been a little bit better. I had my Percy Jackson video, and I actually have another video ready to come out, but I posted a poll, which, by the way, if you haven't checked out my YouTube community space, I'd recommend looking over there. Also, these pajamas have my dog's face on it. That's what's going on there. I'm fully in PJs, I'm fully comfy, but as I was saying, if you are wondering or if you want to get involved more in the channel, I would really recommend checking out my community tab, because this is actually how this video came to be. I posted a poll asking if you guys wanted to see the video I already had done, or if you wanted me to do kind of just like a sit down quick update on my interview Oxford process, because I know I recently got, I don't know if a lot of attention is the right word, but I got a few comments on my ELAT video of people that are in the same boat as me, and I thought it would be helpful to just kind of sit down and discuss, debrief, if you will, because at this point all the interviews for this year are done, so there's nothing to be spoiled. Like, I can kind of give a little bit about my interview and stuff, and then just talk about how I'm feeling, because it is currently January 5th when I'm filming this. Hello? Focus on me, maybe? Or not. There you guys are. Anyway, it won't focus, but you get the idea. It is January 5th, and I am currently 4 days away from waking up to the decision. It comes out on the 9th, and they say on the Oxford website that it's early morning. Considering that the UK is, I don't know if it's, I think it's 5 hours ahead of where I live, I will be waking up to that decision most likely. Editing me, just with a quick note, I literally never say this in the video, but until later. But I applied for English literature. That is the course I applied for, and that's kind of what I'm talking about within the context of this video. So it's gonna be like a Tuesday morning type thing. I'll be getting my reaction, don't you worry. I also kind of want to give a disclaimer that like most of my reactions I'm saving for my college reaction video. I kind of hint about it in my video that's coming out next week, unless I switch things up, that is about like a college quiz, and I talk about like various colleges but don't exactly say where I got into, and that's just because I'm saving it for the reaction video. Let's get to it. How am I feeling? How was my ELAT? I actually have a video on that. I'm not sure which corner it's in. I'm gonna guess because this is mirrored and go here. Check that out if you want to see how it went. Spoiler alert, I don't know if I even filmed that in the video, but the ELAT was canceled. I've expressed my feelings in the comments of my ELAT video, so if you want to see like exactly what I said, that response probably sums up my thoughts as best as I can. But I completely understand their decision, and it probably alleviated the majority of people's stress, because I know that not everyone was in the case that I was in, where I thought I wrote a good essay and I was bummed because they didn't read it. And it's alright, as we obviously know. I actually ended up getting an interview, which was insane, and my interview process was something wild. Now, this will be in my college decision reaction video too, but I'll give a little brief summary here. So I got an email from St. Edmund's Hall. Although I applied to Oxford, my knowledge of the colleges was kind of limited, because the one I stayed in, UNIV, although close to St. Edmund's Hall, you don't really like get into a bunch of them. I did my best to explore, but you're limited kind of like by open days if you're not actually in the colleges. So there's a few that you just like straight up don't know because they're tucked away in corners of the city and stuff. So this is one of them. I had never heard of it. Click on the email. Obviously, it is an invitation to interview for Oxford, which was insane. You'll be able to see my reaction in my reaction video whenever that comes out. And yeah, it was surreal. Not only because I had recently received an acceptance like a few days before from what is essentially my dream school, but also because I just didn't really expect to make it that far in terms of like my stats and stuff, which, I mean, I think if you kind of purvey this channel, you can find out for yourself anyway, like who I am, what I'm about. But I am not the perfect student, to be very clear with you. I don't have a perfect GPA. In fact, I'd argue that my GPA is not really representative of my intelligence, which sounds a bit silly, but I say this only because I go to a high school that requires a lot of science and math classes, and throughout the years my GPA has mostly like been negatively affected by that, is what I'm saying. All of this to say, I am not the perfect student. I thought that when applying to Oxford I would be taken out by default. That was what I was worried about, because I'm not the perfect student. I'm a normal kid. I'm human, and I'd like to think I'm relatively smart, but like I said, not perfect. I'm not anything crazy. At least that's what I think. But all this to say, I was all the more surprised when I figured I got an interview, because I was fully expecting to just be disqualified by default. And I don't say that to be self-deprecating. I just say that from what I had researched about Oxford, you had to be the perfect student on top of having other extracurriculars to even be considered, because it is that competitive, which makes complete sense. So imagine how surprised I was when me, who I think has what I would describe as solid extracurriculars, I have like a focused area of interest, as you can tell by this YouTube channel, focusing on like writing books, and not so perfect grades, got an offer for an interview. So that feeling was something I will never be able to describe. It just felt very nice that I was being recognized for my like abilities, and that I had made it past like the first step. To be clear, again, I wasn't expecting this, so it was crazy. So not only did I get this email from St. Edmunds, but then a few days later, I got an email from Exeter, who I had originally applied to. So the reason why I didn't know about St. Edmunds is I believe they outsourced me, which is where they'll like take your application and sometimes move it, but sometimes like both colleges will look at it. So then I get an email from Exeter a few days later, also saying they want to interview me. Now at this point I'm like, what is going on? What is going on? Spoiler alert, another twist in Oxford's increasing technical problems this year, I would say. Again, it's no fault of the university. It's not good on either end, and it's probably worse for them that they have to deal with these problems, and I'm not really salty at all. I understand it happens, but it ended up that my invitation to interview for Exeter went out by accident. I found this out when emailing for my dates, because I hadn't received them yet, and they confirmed that it was transferred and that I was not invited for an interview, despite the fact that I received the email. Okay, so I had to kind of deal with that and process it. It was also strange because I had actually attended an event for those who were going to interview, as in I had to like sign up for the Zoom meeting to meet with the current students, and like the school had to approve me being able to get into the meeting, I believe. So I'm not really sure why they didn't catch it then, but again, there are however many applicants, and there were like hundreds of people on that Zoom meeting, so no hard feelings. It works, and I figured it out. I think that the college that I ended up being outsourced to, St. Edmunds, actually fits me a lot better. I think that Exeter, although it is an amazing Oxford college, I picked it more for the aesthetics and the fact that I had visited it and liked the location than I did for the actual academics and vibe. It's definitely more postgraduate focused, which was an error on my part. I definitely should have done a lot more research as to like the not the dynamics, but like the who makes up the student body, if you understand what I'm saying, and what sort of group I would be a part of when entering into the college. I didn't really do too much research, which was a flaw on my part, and I would really, really advise you to at least try to look into some of that stuff, like what is the postgraduate to undergraduate ratio, how many people are at this college, how big is it, etc. I knew Exeter was small, and it wasn't like I knew nothing going in, but I wish I would have done a little bit more research on like the undergraduate versus postgraduate, because it turns out, at least from what I've read, Exeter is more of a postgraduate college, so I'm actually glad that I got outsourced to somewhere like St. Edmunds, because I think it fits me a lot better, and it's also obviously more undergraduate. I wouldn't say friendly, they're all friendly, but it's just more of an even split. I think it's almost around half and half for how many students they have, which is great. And I just really appreciate it as well, because I think it really fits my creative writing interests, and also the community. I think that they have a lot of great opportunities for me within like other extracurriculars such as sport. I already mentioned the creative writing, but there's just a lot of amazing things there, and I was grateful and I was excited. So all of that to say, I did my interview. I found the interviews not that bad. One thing, however, that was a surprise, that I don't think this is like new or novel information, I'm not spoiling anything, but okay, so when you research English literature online, it'll say that you have one interview, which you talk about a poem, right? They give you the poem about 30 minutes beforehand, mostly blind, and going into it you talk about it. And then you have one where you talk about like you and your personal statement. So I thought this was how St. Edmunds was going to be set up. In both of the emails when they gave me my interview invites, they had like look out for the poem in both. I was like, that's weird. And I kind of just assumed it was a part of the email, but it turns out that St. Edmunds does it, I don't know if differently is the word or if I was just reading the wrong things. It could be personal error, but I would like to correct it in case anyone's listening out there and is like, hey, what should I expect? For me, my interviews, 15 minutes, the poem. they give you a different poem for both interviews, so you're not talking about the same. And then 15 minutes on like your personal statement, you, reading habits, etc. So this is for 2, so you do this twice. It's the same thing twice. I didn't really realize that, and I literally almost missed my first poem because it went in my junk inbox, and I was like, oh, it must be the personal one first. Thankfully, I had the insight to check my junk mail, because if I didn't, that would have been, oh my god, I don't even want to think about it. So stressful. Okay, but yeah, I think the interviews went well. Genuinely, I was just happy that I was able to walk away and feel that I represented myself well, and that I represented it kind of like the way I thought and my personality as well as I could over a Zoom call. And I was proud of that, because it means that as I'm sitting here now waiting for the decision, I don't really have any regrets, because I think I presented myself in the best way I possibly could. So with all that in mind, here we are. And decision day is ticking closer and closer. How do I feel? I'd describe my emotional state and kind of just how I'm prepared to take this, I guess, as prepared for rejection but hopeful for acceptance. I don't know, that sounds corny, but the way I approach most of these college applications, as you'll see in my video, is genuinely, when you watch my reaction video, which might be months from now, so I'm sorry I'm hinting it so much, I fully expected to get rejected from basically every school. And not because I didn't think I was capable enough, but because I knew that as a person, I care very deeply about everything that I do. And if I attach myself to one university by saying, oh, I hope I can get in here, I think I can get in here, it would only hurt me that much more if I got rejected. Now, that sounds a little nuts, but for me, it was just the most realistic approach, so it wouldn't like emotionally destroy me, because that way, if I got rejected or like it didn't go my way, then it wouldn't be as much of like a shock, and I would have been expecting it, and then any success that did occur would have just been an amazing bonus, because I wasn't expecting much. And this is kind of how I feel about Oxford as well. I'm immensely grateful to even have gotten to the interview process. Even just talking to the tutors was great. I think that even if I don't make it in this round, I think Oxford is an amazing post-grad option, and if I do go there for undergrad, chances are I'll pursue it for post-grad as well, because no matter where I go for undergrad, I think Oxford post-grad has always hopefully been in the cards. I've always really hoped that for myself. But in terms of like how nervous as well I am, I'd say I am not nervous, because as I've hinted a few times in this video, I have already gotten into my dream school unconditionally, may I add, so I don't really have to worry about anything, whereas if I do get into Oxford, it will likely be on a condition, and then I will have to wait a lot longer, which is fine. And I actually don't mind conditions or waiting, but the reason I mention this is that the nerves have almost subsided a little bit, because not only am I happy and content with where I am so early into this process, which is crazy that I know things like my dream school this early, but I am just immensely grateful for all of it. And like I said, this makes the Oxford, even the interview and the chance for acceptance, that much more amazing, because I'm already satisfied. I don't really need much more, but it would truly be amazing, and I'm excited. So I'd describe myself not as nervous, but there's definitely like some of that energy here, but more as like I'm waiting in anticipation. Anticipatory is how I describe my state. I don't know if that works, but I hope you understand what I mean by that. I'm not terribly nervous, as in I'm already proud of myself, and I think that no matter what, it'll be okay. I have a great support system, and I'm not that scared of rejection, because the fact that I've made it this far already is something that I am immensely proud of and terribly grateful for. And I just think that it's the anticipation that's killing me more than anything. I think I'm okay, and I think no matter what, I will be okay. Like I mentioned several times before, my dream shot school I'm already into, and while Oxford is definitely the dream shot of the dream shot, let's be honest, I haven't even really let myself consider it as an option, because like I said, I've been approaching this process largely with a defeatist attitude, which some may find is kind of depressing, but for me it works. And yeah, I don't know, I absolutely rambled, and I have been not feeling the greatest, as you can probably hear in my voice, and I have work tomorrow morning. So all of that to say, my thoughts may not have been as cohesive or organized as I might have liked, but I hope some of this was understandable and held some measure of value to you. I just thank you guys for sticking around, and I don't know. I like my little corner of the internet that I've been able to create. Like I said, this has always been a passion project for me. I wouldn't do it if it wasn't. And I'm so happy that there are people that want to tune in on my journey. That's actually crazy to me. I appreciate that any of you even want to hear from me. So, yeah, that is the video, I guess. I wish luck to all the candidates that are probably biting their nails, anxiously waiting like me. I just want to remind everyone that college decisions ultimately aren't a reflection of you. They don't know you, and to whoever watching this video who may be terribly anxious or scared, it will work out no matter what. And even if you don't get that amazing life-changing acceptance, maybe it's for the best, and I think you will end up somewhere great no matter what. At least that's what I hope for myself. Alright, that was a pretty sappy ending. I will see you guys next week with my next video, which is also about college, actually. We're on a college roll right now. Can you blame me? It's all I've been thinking about. Perks of being a senior in high school, I guess. Alright, that's the video. I'll see you guys later. Bye!